because of the prejudiced juries that both sides feel exist in almost every case in this country. What could we do about it? That's going to be the essence of this show. And it's a very important, urgent question. And it's for intelligent people, it's not for you. It's for... Now, before we go into the whole major issue involving this whole show, we're going to go into the major events of the news of today. So, because this show is dedicated to current events, to first discuss everything that's happening in the world, and that's how we start every show, because there are major problems happening in the newspapers that you read about every day. And most of the time, the newspapers don't give you a complete story, a full story, or story. That's why most of the people in this country really don't trust the press. Here, we tell you the news behind the news, the truth of what's really happening that you might not find out from the papers. For instance, here's a lady about to ask a question. Are you Jewish?
No, I'm not
Well,
Jewish.
you're not. Forget the whole thing. What's on your mind?
Yes, Mr. Mason, I'd like to know, what do you think about Clinton lifting the ban on gays in the military?
Is the best question you got?
That's the one I want you to answer.
I think the gay person belongs in the military as much as anybody else. That's right. Are you a gay person, mister? You're not? You? How about you? Now, do you feel... How come all of you deny it? I heard about your case. Now, I think a gay person belongs in the military as much as anybody else. Am I right? Why shouldn't we respect the gay rights of every individual? Your personal behavior, which I heard about, should have nothing to do with your rights to enter the military organization. You have a right to fight for your country, and if you want to take your own life in your hands, because you care that much for your country, should you be denied that right because you're gay? Does that make you less of a citizen, less of an American, less of a person? Who is the right to decide that? What if this country was more gay than heterosexual? Would the heterosexuals not have a right to be equal citizens? Who am I talking to? You understand this? There's something wrong with people who make fun of homosexuals. If I see a homosexual person, I have the highest respect for him. Get up. I do. I respect him. That's right. Sometimes I take a moment. But not for long. Don't get nervous. A couple of kisses and out. Maybe tops one dance. That's it, unless it's a Jewish boy. Is that your best question? Who else? Oh, how do you do?
Hi. What do you think of the new presidential family in general?
I would say since he was just elected president, we should respect him and we should give him every right to accomplish whatever he can. I have the highest respect for his family. I wouldn't trust either one of them, but I have the highest respect. They're going to call Hillary the first lady. And they say to him, this is the first lady. Are you going to believe it? Who's going to believe it? You know, I did a joke a long time ago, but I still think it's very appropriate. It really fits this occasion. I said, he should be president together with Ted Kennedy. Ted Kennedy should have been vice president. This way wouldn't have to worry about anything because they would be on top of everything. Not only that, they say, but fortunately, the White House, they wouldn't use the Oval Office. They'd do everything from a Holiday Inn. I told 4 jokes, pick out something, mister. Killing him that a Jew is making a living. So, I just told myself a better joke than I told you. Oh, here's not a bad-looking person. What's on your mind?
Yes, Jack.
You have a question, too?
How do you feel about paying 3 times more for a bottle of French wine?
How do I feel about what?
Paying 3 times more for a bottle of French wine.
Oh, you were talking about this whole trade issue. This is a very interesting question, isn't it? America is finally, for the first time, taking a firm stand about what the French people have been doing to us and other countries have been doing to us for years. We've always taken a backward stand in terms of foreign trade. That's right. In a way, I'm sorry that we picked this issue to fight on because we're fighting on unequal ground. Because everybody wants to buy anything that's French, no matter how much it costs. Some kind of a schmuck status symbol in this country to have everything French. If it's French, they'll pay any price for it. It's really an unfair war because it fights the basic psychology of the average American. Americans have a severe inferiority complex about any product that's made in America. They say they're great. This is the greatest country in the world. Love country is the country. What are you proud of, an American shirt? Never. I never heard about. You see this shirt? Utah. But if it's French, they're proud of it. Somehow they think it's better if it's French. Why do you think people give you $9 for Perrier? How much do they give you for Salsa? Well, let's be honest about it. Is there any difference between Perrier and Salsa? It's only French. That's the only reason for it. Instead of calling it Salsa, if they called it Salsier, they would make a fortune.
When Henri Hombres terrorize your town, who do you call?
The Three Amigos!
Are they simple-minded silent movie stars or real-life heroes?
Let's ride!
Steve Martin, Chevy Chase, and Martin Short take the wild, wild west and make it wild and crazy.
I'll come back one day.
Comedy lovers, look out.
Right.
Here come the Three Amigos.
Saddle up for laughter with the Three Amigos, Tuesday at 8 on Channel 9.
The styling of the Infiniti Q45 has a beauty that increases as time passes. The interior offers a lasting pleasure, an enduring luxury, which is important because when it comes to a luxury car, as well as most other things in life, infatuation is easy. True love is what takes some time.
Now that the economy is looking up, maybe it's time for you to look down.
At the way the floor store at Rickle can give your home a whole new look.
At the guaranteed lowest prices. The floor store has styles you want, colors you need, prices you love, and you get a written warranty for up to 10 years. This week, Tarket Style Gold Urethane tiles are just 95 cents each, and stain-resistant carpet, including padding, is only $4.77 a square yard. So what are you waiting for?
Visit the floor store at Rickle.
We make floor covering easy.
Honey, you are my shining star. Don't you?
All the superstars of light music. A bigger, brighter choice of music. Light FM. Turn it on.
Never seen you looking so lovely as you did tonight. I've never seen you shine so bright.
Set the perfect mood with a bigger, brighter choice of music. Light FM. Turn it on.
How do you do? How do you do? The topic is going to be crime and the question of whether you could get, whether it's possible to get in this country a fair trial when there's a racial situation or a racial crime involved because of all the tensions connected with every side of the issue. So, by the way, we're going to have the illustrious Al Sharpton is going to be on the show. I don't know if you heard about it. Al Sharpton, one of the great leaders of a certain point of view. Well, I don't know if everybody is influenced by him, but he certainly carries a lot of weight. Listen,
When you talk about injustice, the injustice that's taking place, Yankel Rosenbaum was the straw that broke the camel's back when you had 5 cases of Jewish blood, people murdered, shul burnt, and people beaten up, and juries just throw them out and say, exonerated them, and afterwards they go out and celebrate that the system works for them. But what about when it comes to Jewish blood? Rodney King, everybody would agree, was a terrible travesty. Where are the same people who spoke out everywhere? Governors, mayors, presidents, all kinds of investigations. Why weren't they standing by with the same outrage, speaking against an injustice?
this is Roy.
I don't think for one moment the liberal black leaders and the liberal white leaders had any doubt in their mind what went down in that Cronkite verdict. 3 decades ago, Medgar Evers was murdered down south. The murderers were tried and let go by a racist white jury. None of these liberal white or black leaders had any doubt. They weren't there at ringside, they weren't in the courtroom, but they knew a racist verdict went down. 25 to 30 years ago, 3 young men from Corps, 2 Jews and 1 black. Schwerner, Goodman, and Cheney, the so-called Mississippi Burning picture, where they didn't mention even CORE, the organization these young men came from and died for. No one had any doubts when Sheriff Rainey and that bunch of criminals, racist criminals, were let go. We didn't need to be at ringside. We knew a racist verdict in Rodney King recently. We knew it in Goodman, Schwerner, and Cheney. We knew it in Medgar Evers. And we know it in Crown Heights with Limerick Nelson.
You know, Jackie, you know, it's really sad that all of us are not united on what happened in the Yankel Rosenbaum case. It's interesting that we can pick and choose which cases were fair and which ones were not. In the Rodney King case, in spite of what we saw on television, we know that we can look at something, two people looking at the same thing can see two different things. A jury in Rodney King found that the police officers were not guilty. All of America condemned the jury. But in New York, with overwhelming evidence, a confession, a knife with blood on it, and Yankel identifying Lemrick Nelson as the person who stabbed him, suddenly we have excuses. We have apologists in the minority community. They see it differently. The riots in Crown Heights, the pogrom in Crown Heights. Yes, there was a horrible accident that took place and a child was killed. No different from the children who have been killed in my neighborhood or your neighborhood in accidents. Horrible, but an accident. What is the excuse for 3 days of terrorizing an entire community of Crown Heights? What is the excuse? What is the excuse for physically assaulting an entire community? Where is the leadership of the minority community, elected officials and others, to clearly condemn the outrage that took place in Crown Heights?
I gotta go to this one.
What happened to the father of the child who was brutalized by the police officers?
Who's that? Say that
Father.
again. The father
Child that died.
The father
Yes.
of who?
The child.
That died?
Yes.
He was brutalized by the
Yes.
police officer?
Gavin Cato.
Right.
Well, if that happened, those police officers should be dealt with if they are guilty. But what does that have to do
What happened
with
when the
mobs
father went to
of
the
people?
station?
What does, sir,
Wait, let him finish.
sir, with all due respect, I understand your questions. And if someone was terrorized, let's use the law to enforce, to go against those who terrorize, whether it's police or anyone else. But please answer me. What does that have to do with terrorizing innocent men, women, and children? Please make the connection for me.
Go ahead.
I want you to know straight who started it.
Who started it?
That's what they want to do, Jackie. That's what they want to do. They want to besmirch Yankel Rosenbaum's name. They say that he started, he came with a knife from all the way from Australia, and he came to terrorize that community. Let me tell you something.
Where was Yankel Rosenbaum?
Where was Rosenbaum? An innocent Jew standing outside, taking some fresh air,
Where
and
was
you
standing
and the
outside?
community.
He
One
was in the
second.
car.
One second.
Get your facts straight.
1 second. My facts straight. 1 second. Let me just tell you. One
Wait,
second.
you can't talk together.
Because not only, this is the problem. This is exactly what they do. Instead of joining together, the minority community joining with the Jewish community to say this was a blood libel, this was terrible, it was a lynching. Many leaders stood up. Why don't you say it was a lynching? No, you want to...
Wait, let him answer you. He has the right to answer you, please.
You know, I'm sorry for your great loss. But I want to point out that a year before your child was accidentally run over, a year before, in Crown Heights, a black driver killed a Jewish child. There were no riots. There was no destruction of property. A year before, a black driver killed a Jewish child.
Wait. I'm going to give you a chance to answer. You'll be the one to answer this as soon as we come back. I'm sorry. I'll get to you.
Question. Which of these two instant coffees looks darker?
This one is definitely darker.
This one.
The one on the right's darker.
Is darker better? What do you think?
Dark, rich, what's not to like? What kind is it?
Decaffeinated Folgers Crystals.
I like it.
tastes rich.
That'll get me going.
It's made with mountain-grown beans, fresh brewed, then crystallized. Want to know what the other coffee is?
Excuse me?
Try decaffeinated Folgers Crystals. So dark and rich, shouldn't you switch?
Excuse me, where's this waiting room?
Pardon me?
The waiting room.
Here, follow me. I'm going that way.
Thank you. I came in to visit my granddaughter. She just got home from college. Bet you meet her here.
Well, there she is. Have a wonderful visit.
You've got to make the choice to share your heart and voice. We're all connected.
Hi, Grandma. I was just thinking about you. Let's have dinner.
Telephone.
Introducing the new minivan store at your Chrysler Plymouth dealer. Shop the widest range of models and options with savings on America's most popular minivans. Like Voyager, an outstanding family value. Get roominess and versatility, plus automatic, air, and driver's minivan airbag for under $14,900. If you're looking for a minivan, any minivan, first see the experts who sold over 3 million. The minivan store, only at your Chrysler Plymouth dealer, where real advantages make a real difference.
I like the sound of a dinner time deal.
Sizzler's Chalkboard Specials.
Don't need much money, that's my kind of meal.
3 hearty favorites, each $6.99. Mushroom smothered sirloin steak, loads of tender fried shrimp or honey mustard chicken. Sizzler's Chalkboard Specials, just $6.99. And to sweeten the deal, the dessert is free.
Wait, Al Sharpton will come out now, and if you have anything to say to him, say it civilly. Wait a second. I think it's tasteless to boo anybody. You invited, this is a democracy. The man is not committing any crime in front of you now. He's standing here talking to you like a civilized human being. Common decency dictates that you should respect his right to talk and answer if you disagree with him. That we don't need infantile, obnoxious behavior here. Now, you heard the discussion, I'm sure, till now. And you heard this side saying that what they did was pure hate and prejudice and violence against an innocent crowd of Jews. They were hollering, "Get that Jew," and they all feel it was just plain prejudice and hate that had nothing to do with the accident that took place before. And that if it was or not an accident, they should have investigated and studied it. But there's no reason to attack a community or to kill a person, because that in itself is racism.
No one does. I think he said clearly what the Cato family said, what I've said. No one agrees with what happened to Rosenbaum. And I think that everyone that's sane would want to see the killers go to jail. The question was never that. The question was whether everyone agreed that Nelson was the killer. And it seems to me very strange that some of these same people that denounced me for marching in Bensonhurst, they were not there. They want to understand. In fact, led marches against our march are now saying that we are wrong to not be out there in Crown Heights marching with them. It's crazy. If everybody here had taken the same consistent position down through the years, there wouldn't be any tension. But the problem...
Wait, please, one at a time, please.
You have all the time in the world to talk. I'm not yelling at you.
Don't
yelling
yell
at me
people.
is not making more intelligent what you say.
That's right. Please, this is...
Wait a minute, we've heard
Could you please keep
Councilman,
quiet?
let me finish what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I've heard the first part of this program, I've heard people like Mr. Deere, who denounced me in Bensonhurst for marching, say, why weren't we at a march in Crown Heights? What I'm saying is that all of us need to be against racial murders, not select which racial murders we're going to be against.
Wait a second. You'll be next. Twice let this man talk, please.
Just very quickly.
Please, one at a time.
Mr. Cato, you know who I am, and I represented Joseph Lish, and I hope you got his card, because he was deeply saddened. You know who I am, too. I went to the U.S. Attorney's Office during that time in Crown Heights because I watched you instigate the incitement to riot.
Well, you're lying.
I watched you. Let me finish. I watched you talk about the diamond dealers.
Barry Slotnick, first of all, when I got to Crown Heights, it was the day after both Rosenbaum's murder and Gavin Cato had been killed, when he called me about 3 in the afternoon, there had already been a riot. Wait a minute. Come on, show your ignorance. Jump up and down. We're trying to have a nice discussion. Go ahead, show us how crazy you can be. Go ahead. You feel better now? Now, can we get back to you? I cannot incite a riot that I wasn't even there for.
At the funeral, you indulged
Wait a minute, let's finish with one myth at a time, please.
You are an
now, let's deal back with that.
Shut up.
Correct your statement, Barry. I was not even there when the riot happened.
I'll get to you. I'll get to you. I promise you. Show is not over.
At the time you
Let the man
arrived.
talk, please. Where did you learn how to be... Go ahead.
Well, that's how they win debates. They don't let the other side talk.
Please, let him go.
Yeah, well, you lost.
Oh, come on. Stop. Will you get this?
At the time... At the time you arrived, the riots were in full-fledged. They were continuing. The police were standing around, and there's a question as to whether they did anything. You arrived with your busloads.
Let him finish. Let him finish. We'll both talk. You finish, then he'll talk.
You arrived with your busloads of people. You took them off the busloads, and you joined the riot. There were slogans that were brought out. There were things that happened. You spoke at Gavin's funeral, and you spoke about the diamond dealers. Was it because you didn't want to use the word kike?
Okay, now.
Why did you use the word diamond dealer?
First of all, when I arrived in an automobile. There was no buses until the following Saturday's march, which was very peaceful. There was no riot after Gavin's funeral. We marched 6 miles to the cemetery and buried him. There was no violence. What I said at the funeral, and this, because of your accusation, was ran by one of the local news, is that I condemn kids that snatch pocketbooks on Utica Avenue from the black community, as well as I condemn those merchants that deal with South African apartheid jewelers and sell blood diamonds in our community. I condemn both sides.
So easy. It is so easy for you to twist the
facts. First of all, if you have any evidence, we all agree there should be a federal investigation. If you have any evidence that I cited any right, I dare you to go down and prove it, or I will sue your little slick suit and the lies coming out of your mouth.
That's beautiful.
Now let's go.
I'll
meet you at the U.S. Attorney's office. Because you know you are lying and you know none of that happened.
And you're invited.
I have one question. Don't refine your statement now. Don't say that I invited. Don't say I joined. You say I incited a riot. I'll meet you 9 o'clock tomorrow morning at the U.S. Attorney's office, and you put up or shut up.
Go ahead, yes, man.
Were you there? You want to do that, Barry? Because you know you're lying.
Wait, talk to this man.
I saw you lead a group of hundreds of youths. When you got to Kingston and Eastern Parkway, there was an Israeli flag. You took it, you burnt it, and hundreds of rocks
You joined him in the morning.
came flying
You joined
at
him in the morning.
synagogue. I saw you.
We have footage of when that flag was burnt. I was nowhere on that corner.
You were right there in the
You're
center.
a liar. That's a lie.
I saw you.
That's a lie.
I saw you. Don't tell me no.
Take the footage that I have. See, what everyone is trying to do is go around the issues and make the issues persons and all of that. First of all, if I had burned the Israeli flag, everybody, with all the media out there, everyone would have seen that. So let's not play games with ourselves. Well, if you have, I will invite you to bring him that picture. I guarantee you'll never bring him that picture because it never happened. The issue is, let's go back to what I started with. Why didn't all of you have the same outrage about Yusuf Hawkins, about Michael Griffith, and about the other deaths that happened racially? You seem to avoid that part of the argument. I know I didn't see you. You asked me where I hear it say, where were the black leaders in Crown Heights? Where were y'all in Bensonhurst? Where were y'all in Howard Beach?
1 second. We'll break and we'll come right back. We'll come right back.
Know your own power. Energy-efficient lights on timers can save you more than just money, and energy-efficient bulbs will make your electric bills look better. This energy-saving refrigerator keeps food fresh without eating up electricity, and it's even more efficient when you remember to close it. Know your own power. The more you know, the more you'll save.
Get out and grab McCain Elio's pizza with barbecue sauce. Yep, it's topped with genuine, tongue-tickling barbecue sauce. Hottest thing to happen to pizza since the oven. You could cook it in the oven or on the grill for the real taste of barbecue all year round. Woo!
Hey!
That is good tasting barbecue. Whole family's gonna go for the hottest thing to happen to pizza since the oven. McCain Elio's Pizza with barbecue sauce.
Things were rough before I got laid off, and then, wow. Creditors calling day and night, foreclosure notices on our house. My wife finally stopped the madness.
How?
Called Jacoby and Myers. Instead of losing everything, all we lost were the bill collectors. Our bankruptcy lawyer helped us keep our house, furniture, my tools. You know, the bankruptcy laws aren't just for big corporations.
What's next?
I think we got a shot at getting our credit back.
The athletic trainers of every major pro sport recommend one pain-relieving gel, Flexall 454. I use it for my kind of pain. And now aloe vera-based Flexall is used almost everywhere. In tennis clubs, backyard gardens, on the golf course, bike paths, road races. Flexall is just about everywhere people suffer from sore muscles and joints. If you're living with pain, join the pro trainers, me and everybody else. Get Flexall, the pain relief pro trainers recommend.
I'll get to you. Go ahead.
We got ahead of the issue here when we moved right to the Yankel Rosenbaum case itself, because the issue that has the entire city riled up, all ethnic communities, free-thinking and clear-thinking people of every ethnic group, is the pogrom itself. It's a larger issue than Yankel Rosenbaum. You don't need a federal investigation to discover that his civil rights were violated. Killed the Jew, they killed the guy.
Wait a second. You'll talk when I give you a chance.
What I'm saying to you is, why don't you have the federal government...
Wait, I'm getting to that.
Why don't you have them investigate all bias-related crimes?
The point that I'm getting to is that the federal government should be investigating what exactly happened that permitted riots to take place for 3 days, because no community is safe from mob rule now. Not black, white, Jew, or Gentile. A mob can run wild in any community in this city now for any reason, because the police, for whatever reason.
Can I say something to that?
And we have to find out. We have to find out if it happened because of misadministration, because of stupidity, or what. Let the chips fall where they may. We have to know, and the federal government must find out why the riots went on for 3 days undeterred for the benefit of every citizen in the city.
First of all, no one disagrees that the federal government should not look into what happened. What I'm saying is they also should look into all mobs. There was a mob of 30 people killed Yusuf Hawkins. Only one went to jail. There was a mob that killed Michael Griffin. So what I'm saying is, either you want justice or you only want justice for one case. If you want justice for the whole situation, I join you. If you want justice for one case, then you don't want justice. You just want what you want.
Heinous. Every damn biased crime is heinous, should be prosecuted.
Well, then let us all go to the federal government and say, how come we continue
to
have heinous crimes that are not being solved?
If indeed justice is not served, then there should be federal investigations of any biased crime for civil rights violations.
We got that point. Wait a second. What?
Don't you think the question is there a double standard in New
Wait.
York today? And the question is, if 20 Jews had leapt upon a black as the 20 blacks leapt upon the Jew yelling, kill, if the situation had been reversed, would the city have sat by?
Never.
Would there have been no denunciation?
What happened after all of the people walked out of court?
We're not talking about
what happened when all of the whites walked out of court in Bensonhurst? Was there a riot?
We're not talking about Bensonhurst.
You asked if it was the other way around. I'm answering.
No, we're
You asked if it was the other way around.
We're talking about
You asked if it was the other way around. What happened when the people...
Let me finish.
When the people walked out acquitted from Bensonhurst, what happened? Was there a riot?
Let her finish. Go ahead.
We're talking about,
Go ahead.
can Hasidic Jews today in New York get a fair trial by jury? That's a very important thing. Or is law enforcement over?
What about everybody
Wait a second.
getting a fair trial?
One second.
This
Go ahead.
case was about a Hasidic Jew.
Go ahead.
Racism is the most painful and deepest wound in America today. We've seen it in Howard Beach. We've seen it in Bensonhurst. We saw it during the Korean boycott, and we just saw it recently in Crown Heights. That's exactly what happened here during the Korean boycott.
Shut up, please.
I was involved in a civil rights action against New York City and the administration on behalf of the community. All laws were violated. No one from the administration was there. The mayor never even was at the Korean boycott. And since then, things got much worse.
What laws were violated?
And it ended.
What laws were violated?
Most recently.
What laws were violated?
Civil rights laws of the community were violated. Every civil rights law was violated.
For a community to say that they felt something happened and they don't want to shop in that store is to violate a law?
There were outside agitators that came in to flatten
Do you live in
Church
Flatbush?
Avenue.
Do you live on Flatbush?
No, but there were
When
plenty
you were
of
an
people.
outsider, you had the right to come in, but others didn't?
Other people came in to incite
and
riots.
because they
did it
disagreed
there,
with you,
and they've done it
there
all
was
over
no
New
riot
York.
at the Korean boycott.
Unfortunately,
There was no riot at the
these
Korean boycott.
wounds are being ripped open by people who come into communities and devastate them.
Well,
that's what's
first of all,
happening today.
Let me answer this.
I'm sorry. Roy Innes, go ahead.
I want to set the record straight. This gentleman here was right that brought the issue back to Church Avenue and the Korean boycott. Police were forced to stand as if they were handcuffed and watch the law be broken, watch the Supreme Court injunction violated. The injunction was appealed, and still these people were violating this injunction. But worst of all, black people, mothers, and senior citizens who wanted to shop in the Korean stores could not do so.
Why not?
Because hoodlums were stopping them. All right? And the reason...
Well, let me say something, Roy.
The reason that...
Wait, let him...
Right.
Roy,
For that reason...
let him finish, please. I'm sorry.
For that reason, I got Mel Sachs, one of my counsels, and Simeon Greenaway, to file the same kind of civil rights violation suit that we brought down south against Bull Connors and the racists down south back in the civil rights period. And it was brought against the black mayor of New York City, Dave Dinkins, and the black commissioner of police, along with Sonny Carson. And it was brought to get the civil rights for the Koreans and civil rights for the black shoppers, the mothers and senior citizens who were afraid, who had to be escorted to those stores by me and my people.
Wait, one second.
I think Stephen was on that case and could deal with that. But Roy, I don't think you would even say there was a riot at that Korean market. No, wait. No, the issue is if you're going to stand...
Wait.
No.
Wait.
When someone stands up and makes an accusation, deal with the accusation.
Let's assume he was 100% wrong about the riot.
Let's say he was wrong.
The question is, were they stopping them? Were they interfering with their ability to do business? Was that violating their civil rights? That's what
they fought out in court. They fought out in court. He can tell you his side. But don't just act like somebody can make a statement about violence and no, it doesn't matter. It does matter.
The question is, did they violate their civil rights? Did they interfere with their right to do business?
Yes.
That's the question.
Of the Koreans and of the black mothers and of the black senior citizens.
Any lawsuit, there was a lawsuit against the NAACP about boycott. We always say that if somebody calls a boycott that interferes with their right, people have the right not to shop where they don't want to shop.
There's a difference between a boycott, the honorable boycott of Martin Luther King, the honorable boycott of the NAACP, and intimidating shoppers, black shoppers with mothers who want to go in and just shop and buy a bunch of cabbage.
If people intimidated people, then that is not boycott. I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that. No. You have gone from saying there was a riot. No, wait a minute. You've gone from saying there was a riot to now there was some intimidation.
Forget about the riot.
What I'm saying is there was a boycott call. People have the right to say that we feel something wrong happened and we are going to pick at that store. People have the right to say that.
It is disgraceful for you to compare what those hoods were doing out there in Crown Heights, Sonny Carson, and this bunch of band of hoods, and intimidating black citizens from shopping in their own store. Okay, comparing that to what Martin Luther King was doing.
Have a break now. We have a break.
That's disgraceful, Al. That is disgraceful.
Are they hoods for marching in Crown Heights?
We have a disgrace right now. The disgrace is that you're talking. Where's the break? Wait. 1 second. Where's the break? Sit down. I'm the referee here. Just a minute.
Alert the media. Monday night, big event. Rockers Elton John and Bernie Taupin are doing the night thing at Arsenio.
Yeah.
They'll be making a very special appearance and live performance, along with TV's first lady of comedy, Roseanne Arnold.
But wait, there's more.
This Wednesday night, it's Magic Johnson. Also this week, director Spike Lee and cover girl Christy Brinkley. But first, on Monday, Elton John, Bernie Taupin, and Roseanne Arnold on Arsenio. Do the night thing with Arsenio, tonight at 11:30 on Channel 9.
How fast does Anbesol start to relieve toothache pain? Before you can say,
Anbesol.
denture pain? Before you can say,
Anbesol.
relieve minor mouth pain on contact with Anbesol in regular or maximum strength.
A cold isn't always just here. Sinuses can get congested too. That's why there's Advil Cold and Sinus. One ingredient for aches and pains, another for sinus congestion. It's all connected.
Advil Cold and Sinus, advanced formula for the cold season.
When I first started Champion, my goal was to create a company that I would love to do business with. A company made up of caring men and women who really want to change the mortgage industry for the better. And a company where so many more customers could easily get a second mortgage and at very low rates. I never would have dreamed it possible. But for 3 consecutive years, we've been chosen one of the 500 fastest growing private companies in the country. With growth like that, we must be giving people what they want. When your bank says no, Champion says yes.
Healthcare reform is critical to New Jersey. For many, particularly the uninsured, it's a matter of life and death. Developing reforms led by an emerging state health plan will provide preventive care and sophisticated treatment to achieve comprehensive yet affordable health services for all of us. New Jerseyans must urge their governor, their legislators, insurers, and healthcare providers to embrace healthcare reform.
Here's the Korean store owners themselves. Let me hear. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mason. As a Korean-American attorney who represented one of the Korean stores who was boycotted by a certain black group, Afro-American group, let me tell you about our experience a little bit. And I agree with the Mr. Innes in a sense because he helped our cause very much. We thank to Mr. Innes. Let me say that this Korean boycott lasted about 10 months, from the January 1990 through almost October 1990. It was characterized by a complete disregard of the law on the part of the boycotters. I'm not saying the all Afro-American, many people sympathize with me, but certain group, and also the inaction on the part of the city administration, including mayor and New York City Police Department. And I will tell you, there were 3 legal battles involved. Number one, a criminal charge against one of the store owner for assaulting one of the shopper, who, according to Korean side, she was the shoplifter. That case was a criminal case, and at the jury trial, a jury acquitted the Korean store
But
owner.
that jury was right.
Right.
But this jury you want to say is wrong. So in other words, it's up to you which jury you want.
Wait 1 second. One second, let him talk, please.
And also,
please.
There was a second criminal trial. In this case, one of the boycotter was the defendant. She entered into another Korean store, pushed a 2 months pregnant old wife of the store owner. So we brought a criminal charge against her, and the jury trial there, and jury convicted her. The jury was right. And third trial was as Mr. Innes pointed out, the civil suit. We get the injunction that these boycotters must stay away 50 feet from the store. But when we served all the injunction on each and every member of the boycotter and went to the police department refused to enforce it, and the boycotters completely defied that order. They continue. And we asked the mayor to come down to resolve this matter. He didn't come down. And one black teacher, Mr. McRae, a hero in true meaning, he came. A hero.
Where is he now?
And
Wait, please, let him finish.
Where's your hero today?
And he crossed the picket line.
I'll let you answer. Please let him finish.
Now he's beginning
Could
to
you
mistake
please let
the
him
facts.
finish?
Now he's called himself a
You're
lawyer.
asking the other
He's
people to
calling
let you
himself a
finish.
lawyer.
Let him finish
Don't
and
let
keep
me
your
finish.
mouth shut.
You
You got
keep your
that?
mouth shut.
Keep your mouth shut. Now get off the stage. son of a bitch.
Oh, you're a big man, Mason. You're a big man.
Let him finish. Let him finish. When we respect him. We respect right to talk. I never interrupted him. Let him finish. You'll speak in a second. Go ahead.
So, in short, I wanted to say that I don't have much complaint against the American judicial system. The jury system still, I agree with this attorney, still by far the fair and impartial device that we have. But the people and the administration leaders, when they don't follow the law, then there will be chaos and racial confrontation, racial chaos.
First of all, Jackie, I'd like to know, why is it that the jury system always appears to work when it works in favor of what they want? Whenever there's something like, unfortunately, in the Yankel Rosenbaum case, didn't turn out the way a lot of the people in the representing a community here wanted, all of a sudden the jury system has to be questioned. All of a sudden, all of a sudden racism was clear. All of a sudden we must second guess the jury.
Wait a second. There's two questions over here. Number one,
there's more than two.
Wait. There was a major question here. Over here in this Yankel Rosenbaum case, this was the verdict, and they're doing nothing about the verdict except complain. Over there, they came out with a verdict, and they defied the verdict.
First of all, there wasn't a verdict. There wasn't a verdict.
They violated
Let me
the
correct
verdict
you.
in the Korean
Jackie,
case.
this is exactly the
jury
problem.
came out and said that the Korean shop
First of all, there was no verdict that he's talking about.
The verdict was 50
shop owner
feet.
was acquitted, and nobody did anything to the
Wait.
shop owner.
The jury decided on 50 feet, and they violated it.
First of all, there has been a federal law against boycotts, period. So let's not talk about just, I mean, if you want to talk about that, the whole civil rights movement is wrong to boycott. We always violated laws to boycott.
Cleveland, I'll get to you next. I'll get to you, too.
Now, long before... Long before it results in the murder of Michael Griffin or Yankel Rosenbaum, before the lawyers get their hands on the case and turn the facts one way or the other, before the activists show up on both sides with their protest marches and the politicians make their speeches, you know, Al, we're both the same age. You were almost a victim of some jerk who was taught to hate you in Bensonhurst and tried to plunge a knife into your heart.
He didn't try, he did.
Exactly.
And what did I do?
Well, why?
What did I do?
Well, wait a second, Al.
Let him finish,
What did I
please.
do?
Why? Al.
Please, one at a time. One at a time, please.
He was brought up to hate. He at one point heard within his neighborhood or his background, people referred to you as a nigger, a jungle bunny, a coon. And he learned to hate Al Sharpton. So much so he wanted to kill you. Look at myself, we're the same age, shot 5 times because I made statements about organized crime. They hate me so much they want to kill us. The words lead to the hate. What offends us, many of us, is as a civil rights leader. And we should be role models because we're leaders of a whole new generation. When blacks stand outside of that Korean market and yell, hey, you slant-eyed monkeys, you goops, you ching-changs, go back there to where you belong. And their rights are being violated, and we all as a community stay silent. That does as much injustice as a knife in Yankel Rosenbaum or a car that hits Michael Griffin.
Right.
For instance, in Canarsie, we were both together. We watched. I was embarrassed because on both sides there were young Italians I grew up with that were holding up watermelons to your demonstrators, saying, go back to Africa. And yet on the other side, there were blacks holding boxes of Ronzoni spaghetti going, spaghetti benders, organ grounders. All I'm saying is, Al, if we're going to make a better our children and our children's children, the moment one of our people steps out of line and says, kill the Jews, or kill the niggers, or kill the Spics, or kill the Guineas, we must rise up immediately and condemn them.
That's where I'm at. Let me answer.
If you looked up the word value in the dictionary, you know what you'd find? A picture of the Toyota Corolla. Corolla comes from the same family as the Camry, but it's all new. For less than $200 a month, you can have all the power, room, and safety that over 25 years of engineering have put into the new Corolla. Oh, and if you looked up quality, you know what you'd find? A whole line of Toyotas. See a Toyota dealer today. You'll find him under savings. You could look it up.
It's rich, sweet, and absolutely nuts. It only comes but once a year. The Jubilee Roll from Friendly's. Just order any of our classic burgers. And we'll make you a Jubilee Sundae. Free. Or buy a whole Jubilee roll and enjoy our Nutcracker Suite at home.
When Jeffrey catches a cold, we see the pediatrician.
I love my pediatrician. He's my dad.
He recommends Dimetap Elixir.
Doctors have recommended the Dimetap brand over 200 million times. It relieves sneezing, nasal congestion, runny noses.
And Jeffrey really likes the great taste.
Doctors recommend Dimetap for their families and yours. Now get the great taste of Dimetap Elixir in new Dimetap chewable tablets. Celebrate Corbel Champagne.
Curtis, it wasn't a whole community that teaches hate. It's those individual parents. Al Sharpton was there, and let me say that the political representative who represented Benson Heights was Frank Barbaro.
That's
the
right.
others were invisible.
That's right.
You and I sat in St. Dominic's Church
That's
and
right.
talked this thing out. So let's
And there was no
now talk
violence
about
after
it.
we
Right.
set out.
And there was
Is that not
no
right?
right. And it was a peaceful march, and there were peaceful
That's
people
right.
on the street
That's
because there
correct.
was an issue that was right.
And everybody
But we have
sat down.
digressed from the main issue here, Jackie. The main issue here is the double standard of the justice system.
That's right.
What we're talking about is you did, I did, he did, this incident, that incident. Let me tell you this here.
Could you make it fast?
Yes, we'll make it quick. In Howard Beach, in Benson Heights, when our zealous district attorney went out, they grabbed a whole bunch of people. How come they only got one guy in Crown Heights? Okay? We thought we were going to get rid of the politics. We got a DA who's a politician.
Wait a second. I have to hear from this man. Wait. You'll get a chance. Wait 1 second. This man never had a chance to talk. Go ahead.
Here I am right now. I'm going to say a couple of words. We've been skirting around one thing. This is a city run by politicians. And we haven't mentioned the mayor of New York. I think when the mayor of New York did not enforce the boycott, the injunction, did not do anything about the riots for 3 days and told the cops to duck, when after the verdict came in Yanko Rosenbaum, he said he was going to put 80 cops out there and a reward, but not before. That's what was. Yeah, if it doesn't come, it's not Al Sharpton, the thinkers I'm talking about, we ought to be talking about here. The newspapers like to let him get away with it, but not simply get away with it. He's the head man in the city. He's the...
Go ahead.
Allow me to say one thing. I knew Yanko Rosenbaum, and for anybody to say that he was carrying a knife walking down that street is a total farce and a lie and misrepresentation of fact. Separately, for someone to go and say that you talk about healing and you talk about we have to forget and move on. Well, we're not going to forget Yanko Rosenbaum, and we're not going to move on. I challenge the black community to get forward, work with all the black ministers, find out who these people were that were rioting, find out who these people were that led to the mob stabbing, bring them forward and let justice rule. If you want to talk about justice, let it rule.
I'll get to you next. Wait, that's it.
You bring the guy to kill Gavin also.
Right.
Gavin Cato, the accident that happened with Gavin Cato, the person that was driving the car, you failed to mention that a year before, he rescued 2 black children from a fire. So don't go calling him a racist. He risked his life and lived.
We said the man ought to be in civil court. If I bumped into your fender, I'd be in civil court. The man does not have the right to run abroad and not deal with the civil obligations.
You want to hear the facts?
Wait, let's hear the facts. Wait a minute.
Who said I'm not talking the facts? I mean, all of a sudden, he's the decider of facts.
I didn't say he's the decider.
You never had a fact
Wait.
in your life.
Don't insult people here. He's not, you don't insult him. Sit down for a second. He's not insulting people. He's offering his opinion. I want to hear yours. Say it civilly. Say it
The
civilly.
man lies. And I challenge him to produce the evidence. That's all he's got to do is produce the evidence. It's very easy. Because everyone involved in the case understood what happened. The man made an accusation that is incorrect. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Can you defend your statements there, Barry? No, Barry, can you defend your statements? I mean, come on. When you make a statement and then back up, say that you got caught. I'm not running now either. You tried to run. You couldn't get off first base. I did a lot better than you did, Barry. Call me next time.
You want to know something? You were the person that polarized the people in the city of New York.
Both and Gavin Cato had both been dead.
We can't all talk together.
Why don't we deal with
We can't all talk together. Shut up!
Now, let's look at it very simply.
Calm down, Jackie. You're all right.
It's killing the show.
This man who suddenly decided to become a politician has now become a moderate.
I'm
You
not
have
moderate.
abandoned your position.
I'm very militantly telling you that
You're not
Yusuf
doing what
List
you
has the
did
same
before.
obligation of any other citizen that is involved in any kind of infraction that causes the death of someone.
Were you that went to Israel to serve
That's right.
him?
Al Shabaab on Yusuf List because that family has the right to civil proceedings like anyone else in these United
That
States.
family will collect the money that they're entitled to in the civil courts, and there's no question
Is that a
about that.
concession as the lawyer?
That's a concession.
So you're admitting that they are civil money?
This changes the whole subject. This changes the subject. Whether he did anything or not changes the subject. The question is, what right do you have, therefore, to start a riot against innocent people and who have nothing to do with it?
Nobody. Nobody has the right. But nobody has the right also to walk away from their responsibility.
That has nothing to do with it. That has nothing to do with it. So you deal with that case. You deal with that case as a case. You don't make every other Jew responsible for it. These other Jews had nothing to do with that case.
I'm not talking about other Jews. I'm talking about Yusuf List.
I'm talking, Yusuf List should be adjudicated as an individual case. The question is, why was a riot started the next day, and why did they chase all the Jews? Why did they kill all the other Jews?
A kiss? No, I'm sorry. I don't think so.
Oh, no, please, no, baby, no.
Oh, not a good idea. Not now.
No, bad time.
Fight morning breath with Scope. Scope has 2 powerful ingredients that kill 90% of the bacteria that cause...
Is ready. Lock her up.
On the kisser.
Come on.
Kiss morning breath goodbye with Scope.
Give me that kiss.
If you're in North Jersey and calling NYC, they will love some money down Tennessee. Out of sight, out of sight.
I'll never forget it. It was a big game. And it was all up to me. For years, I've been wishing I'd swung at that pitch. At least I'd have given it a shot. So, if you're a guy who wants to find out more about Rogaine with minoxidil, whether it's for you, don't just stand there with a shoulder. Get out about it.
To find out about Rogaine topical solution, call 1-800-825-7771, and Upjohn will send you an informative brochure about Rogaine. And because only a doctor can prescribe Rogaine, they'll even send you a list of local doctors who can help you decide about it.
If you'd like to find out more about Rogaine with minoxidil, don't stand there with the bat on your shoulder. Make the call now.
Coming up tonight at 10, poison spills onto a highway and sends residents to the hospital. We'll have the latest on that. Also tonight, cops go undercover to tell their stories. We'll tell you why. Plus, is Prince Charles ready to throw away the crown? New reports on the Rocky Royals. And then Malcolm X makes its debut. We'll go to a preview with Spike Lee. All of that coming up at 10.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's been a lot of turbulence and violence and intense emotion throughout this whole show, but let's be honest about it. As horrible as the situation as it was with Yankel Rosenbaum and as horrible as these other situations might have been, at least we hear from Al Sharpton one thing, that he might disagree with how much of violence there was perpetrated against the Jews, and he might claim that it happened from both sides, but he at least has the decency to tell you that he hopes it never happens again, that he condemns violence, that if it happens, that it happened before, it should never happen again. Now this side feels Wait a second. Now, you're claiming that not only did he allow the violence, he actually was part of it. He actually incited it. He swears he didn't intend to. He wasn't even there. And if he was, he would never allow this to happen again. Now there are people here who are claiming that the Jews also participate in the violence. I don't think anybody in the world believes that. I don't think anybody in the world believes that. I don't think a beleaguered, helpless religious group going to yeshiva and shuls every day, just like a religious group of blacks or Christians who spend their whole time in religion with beards, are going to go start violent attacks on anybody.
What you did in Crown Heights is irrelevant. The bottom line is that there would not be a 1-day, 2-day, 3-day riot if it wasn't for Mayor Dinkins, and there would not be a California riot.
And one thing I got to say to you, is no justice, no peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, the show is over. The show is over. The show is over. Ladies and gentlemen, the show is over.